Hello, everyone. We're back to another edition looking at Gameweek 23, talking about the games this weekend. We're going to be back on Sunday, but we'll be reviewing the games happening today, Saturday, and kicking off with the big one, West Ham versus Chelsea, first game of the day. Talking points, Biodun, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts ahead of this game? Is this a must win for Chelsea?
I mean, I really think it's a must win. I think they've run out of excuses, and I think they should win. Um, I am confident that Chelsea would win. I would expect all the fans to be confident that they can win. um, West Ham is fighting relegation. They're just coming out of all these, issues and not scoring. But I looked at that Chelsea team. That's a multi-million-dollar squad.
Nearly a
And
billion.
if there is no immediate impact, then somebody needs to explain to me what the strategy is. Because I've been hearing things around, or we've got to wait till next season before the team can gel. I get it if you just buy players like Nottingham Forest, right? And you're thinking that, okay, we've revamped the entire team and we need time preseason for them to gel. But you spend a lot of millions bringing in players that were already informed during the season from another club and another league to come together and play. And these are young players, these are hungry players. I think with the right manager and knowing what he wants to do, which I think some Chelsea fans are still not happy with, that he doesn't have a style of play, there's no identity, we can't really see what he's trying to do. I don't think that's enough excuse for you not to go out there and play against West Ham. If I pair them one on one, right, Chelsea will still stand out. Most of these West Ham players are aging, but what's his name? Is it Rianobu? Is back, is pulling the team. Um, Glenn Rice is there, solid. Antonio might give them that firepower, even though this is not one of his best season, right? But that's not enough to stop Chelsea from getting a win in West Ham. I don't care whether it's played in Stamford Bridge or it's played in West Ham home. When you have players that are quick and fast and very decisive and they can pull strings, I think you have no reason to come at the end of the game and not snatch that 3 points. That would be my expectation. But if that doesn't happen, will I be completely shocked? Maybe not. I will just be worried for the management to see whether Potter will still have a job by the end of tomorrow.
I can tell you, what are you thinking? Joao Felix is back. We all saw what he did, in the first game on his debut. 60 minutes, high intensity running, making things happen in the final third, creating chances for Chelsea like we haven't seen this season. Is this a game for him to grab by the scuff of the neck and finally get another win for Chelsea? Is Potter going to retain his job?
So the formation he plays tomorrow, the squad he brings out tomorrow will determine whether he win that game.
Is it a back four or
Um,
a back five?
I rather go for a back four.
Okay.
You want to score goals? Why are you doing the back five? I don't believe in all those stuff. I feel if the players he has on board right now are fit, I would rather start a Chilwell and Rhys James on the wing. I play Badiashile and Thiago in the central defense. I play an Enzo. I play Enzo and I play the problem is I don't even know who's fit in that midfield. That's another problem. Yeah, because
Well, we know Zakaria
Zachary
and
is out,
Kovacic are out.
Kovacic is
Yeah.
out, Kante is out.
Yeah.
So who do we have?
Mason
And
Mount is available, and I think
the,
Gallagher started the last game as well for you
no,
guys.
Gallagher was out, was an error in that game. Uh, Fernandez is being limited, making him play more of like a defensive midfielder. That's not his role. He likes to venture forward, take the ball forward, try shots and stuff, throw his passes and move on. But he's been limited playing in that role. And that's why I'm hoping that Kante or Zakaria gets back early so that they can play that role for him and he can have the opportunity to move forward a little bit. Um, I rather play on the wings. I play a Noni and what's the name of the new guy? Modric. Then play Fofana as the point man and play
No Felix?
Felix behind him. Two midfield.
Ah.
Felix.
Okay. Okay.
But
So
behind
Felix has a
Fofana.
10.
Yeah, yeah. I think that
Interesting.
would make more sense. I'll bench. I might take a risk, take a gamble, play Mount and what do you call it, and Enzo in the midfield, and bench Kai and Gallagher. I think that would be the better option because those guys are more of attacking players. So it's more of attacking, and I think that might help.
So maybe you can give some insight into that, Tyre, right? That you're a Chelsea fan.
Mhm.
Both Tuchel and Potter seem to put a lot of faith into Kai Havertz. What is it about Kai that makes those two managers that we've seen in the past, season or so, trust Kai to start up front as a striker?
Because they don't have a striker. That's the simple answer. They don't have a striker. They don't have a recognized striker. But because they have a Chidwell and Reece James that can cross ball, they believe the height of Kai is an advantage.
Okay.
Cross the ball and nod, and those guys have good crosses. So they just need somebody to just tuck the ball into the net, and that's why they're playing him up front. Apart from that, I don't think there's anything special about him. He loses ball a lot. He hardly dribbles. He doesn't have pace. So for me, he's not a point man. Even when he sees goals, he plays the other way around. I don't think that is his position. And we all know now, even in the German national team, that is not his position. He plays behind the striker, and that's why he thrives more. They drop the ball for him, and he tries short and tries some things. So I think it's still wrong for any coach to be using that guy as a point man. He wasted resources.
I don't know where that transition came from because the expectation we had of him coming into the league was as a 10, almost an Ozil reborn with work rate.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see his
I think
transition.
where that came from was the Champions League final against Man City. Because he played that role,
being able to finish that,
they assumed that he can play as a 9.
He's capable,
and it's just a one off. You don't, because someone played well in a particular position, then you keep playing in that position. He's not a 9. Anybody that wants to play a 9 must be a fast thinking person, must have pace, must be strong. He's not strong. Easily defenders push him away from the ball. So I don't know. I don't know why they're using him.
So we all know the expectation on Potter and Chelsea, right? We've said it. They spend a lot of money. They brought in a lot of stars. Felix is back for this game. Let's look at it from West Ham's perspective.
Yeah.
West Ham had a very good results in their last game against Newcastle. A 1-1 draw. I think a lot of people actually ruled them out and expected Newcastle to get a win in that game. And West Ham seems to be finding some form, towards the tail end of the season now. Declan Rice has been excellent all season, as always. But massive, we're starting to see more from players. Antonio seems to be regaining some of his form. We've all seen what Jared Bourne can do when he's fit. And Paqueta, I question. I'm like, why is Paqueta liked so much in Brazil? Why is he liked so much at West Ham? Why was he, paid so much money for? Because I hadn't really seen an impact, in his game at West Ham. And he was able to come up with the goal against Newcastle. Is there an upset in this game? Are you worried at all about the chances building? What do you think?
Yeah, first let me address. I misspoke earlier on. I mentioned it wrong. That I was referring to Jerry Bowen. Jerry Bowen has come back for like the last 3-4 games now, and if you notice, they've had improved results. So that has kind of added some firepower to their attack line. They did sign Skamaka. He couldn't establish himself before he caught injury, right? Antonio, like I said, has been out of form. He's just coming back. Antonio will give you that aggression, right? Making the defenders walk, right? Tomorrow against Chelsea, you still have Thiago Silva, which is one of the most respected defender I've ever seen, right? At that age, still kicking. So it would have to do a lot more against Thiago Silva and Badiashile, who has actually stepped in and has benched Koulibaly, which is funny, right? Koulibaly, I think he'll probably not be able to get back to that starting 11 anymore. But one thing, that defense, I think Moyes have been able to figure out some lapses with his defense right now. And I think maybe that is helping them to push forward a bit, right? They've considered a lot of goals through corner kicks. They've considered a lot of goals through set play. they struggled scoring. So they've had issues with scoring. They've had issue with defending. Against Newcastle, we saw a much improved team against Newcastle. You mentioned Paqueta. I'm not really sure I agree with that because I watched that game. Other than the goal he scored, it wasn't really
He seemed to
impactful.
have more impact in the game.
For
I
the-
mean, compared
towards the end of the game, because it was eventually subbed, right? I don't know if it was fitness or whatever. I think the first half he gave his all, and that was it. But they had a much better and a improved game against Newcastle because Newcastle came out. I mean, they were lucky to make it a 1-1 because Newcastle wanted to go. And Newcastle have been struggling with goals as well, if you guys remember. Callum Wilson hasn't scored, I think, in the last 8 or 9 games before that very game. So he was able to score. So that was a much improved. I would think that West Ham will carry that into the next game against Chelsea. However, I still think that Chelsea should be able to dominate. You called out Enzo Fernandez, Akita, when you were speaking. I watched the game against Fulham. That was his debut. And I think he was actually the best Chelsea player on the pitch.
No,
and
I'm not saying he's not a good player. Get me right. I'm saying the role they're playing in deep.
That's what I'm trying to get to. And I think that role might just fit him well. Because let's think about it. Kante will not return anytime soon. Zakaria might not return anytime soon. You guys have so judging you. I think it fits into that role. Now, you guys might want to gamble. And when Kante or somebody comes back, you might want to push him forward. I don't think you need to do that because if you do that, then I think Conor Gallagher or Mason Mount, somebody would have to sit for him to do that. But the way I watched Enzo was able to see well. I think that opportunity for him to sit behind was able to look very much around, and it was actually the most aware player on that pitch.
Very tactically sound.
Because he was able to intercept, he was able to see, and he was able to make quick decisions. All those long balls, he was the one sending those balls. True. So I think that role might fit him going forward. I just think you need to decide on, is it Mount or is it Gallagher? I don't think it was one game gamble, like you said. I think if you guys remember, maybe we have a short memory. Timo Werner was brought in, same as Lukaku, to solve the striking problem. They both didn't deliver. You guys had issues with striker. Havertz has been a great debutant for that role. It wasn't just one of the Champions League game. He did it against even Real Madrid. You guys almost won that. Was it semi-final game, right? So I've seen Kai Havertz doing some flick, some skillful way of scoring, whether it's head or some side kick or whatever. It's not a striker. He won't do it, but he's been able to fit in perfectly. The point I'm trying to make is you guys have suffered and have struggled having a knight that can impose himself as the next Didier Drogba. Until that happens, I don't see you figuring that out because the coach doesn't seem to show confidence in the young guy, David Fofana. And I think that's a problem. I saw that guy and I think he was sharp and I think he was quick. But it looks like the coach might not have some confidence to let him play. Broja would have stepped into this if not for the injury, right? And the guy from Barcelona, I think is past his time and I think he needs to retire. And I think that's not the right decision. It was made by the former coach. But Havertz is somebody that you have to play for now until you figure out who the striker will be long term.
All right. So let's take predictions. Biodu, who will scoreline for tomorrow?
As much as I wouldn't want Chelsea to win, I think it might end up 2-1 in favor of Chelsea.
Okay. I can tell you, are you calling a win for your boys as well?
No, I'll go for a draw.
When a Chelsea fan says draw at this point,
I'll go for a draw.
It's a win.
Maybe a 1-1.
Come out to say
1-1.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a 2-2 draw in that game.
Yeah.
I Chelsea will win.
I just see a draw one way or the other. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Let's take a look at the rest of the games that we have coming up on Saturday, right? I think starting out we have Arsenal. Our
Brentford?
team is playing. Yes, at Brentford. Tayo, you looked into that game.
That'll be a tricky one. It's going to be a very interesting game. Open game.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal didn't come out. They suffered a defeat last weekend, so they're going to come out blazing this time around. But the thing is, they need to be careful when it comes to Brentford. Those guys are good on the counter. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
With the Mbomo guy, the guy has
Mhm.
pace. And the problem I have is sometimes Zinchenko lifts his position on the left wing back and he comes into the midfield. And if by adventure there's a counter, he'll be caught off guard. And that might be a problem for Arsenal. So I don't know. The match is going to be tough and it's going to be interesting. Something to watch. Fingers crossed all through the game.
Scoreline?
I'll go for a draw. I'll
A
go for a
draw,
2
another draw.
or 2-2.
Okay. Beardo, are you feeling the same way? Are you more confident this week now about Arsenal? Or do you still hold some skepticism as the
No,
past weeks?
I think the defeat and the bad result from last week kind of just it's not confidence, it's not
You
fear,
haven't gotten
it's
over
just
it?
like it's just like put you at the situation whereby I don't care. Um, I I really don't. I mean, so to be clear, I'm not worried about the game.
Okay.
I expect us to come out and respond in a very positive and aggressive way. Now, this is my expectation. I hope the players are in that mindset to come out. I think they've had enough time to process and train and put that behind them. I am not sure if Partey is fully fit to play 90 minutes. I'm not a fan of Jorginho, and this game is going to be physical. Um, I think the manager has to make a decision compared to last week. If Partey is not fit, I think we're better off starting Jorginho at the very beginning and bring Partey in if we need to salvage, whatever the situation might be by the second
Yeah.
half. But I think my judgment is based on the first leg when we went to Brentford and shut them down. Remember, Jesus was in that game, so it was much easier. This time we're going to play with Nketiah. I need him. I don't know if he will do that because it's just Nketiah. Nketiah is Nketiah. So it's not Jesus. He would play a normal, typical forward style approach than taking initiative to say, I need to do something different and shake this back line. If we have all our players fit and with the right mindset, it might be a tough game, but I think we'll win. I don't expect Brentford to play like Newcastle when they came to the Emirates. I believe Brentford will open up and give us some chances. I don't think they will treat us like Man City, like they did. Man City, they control the game without having the ball, which is they had a very good shape. They let Man City come, and they held on, stayed disciplined, and they played on the counter. Ivan Toney, Mbomo, all these guys are quick. Partey is very smart and he will read those interceptions. If we keep reading those interceptions and cutting it off, I think we'll have chances, we'll create chances. And Saka and Martinelli or Trossard, whoever plays on the left, will be able to create chances. Once we score 1 or 2 goals, I think they'll be silent. I'm calling it a win, 2-1 for Arsenal.
Okay. Interestingly, I think I see the same results for Arsenal. It's going to be a dicey game. I think Arsenal is going to come out hot, like you said. I think we'll score 2 quick goals and concede 1, and then it's going to be a scramble towards the end. Is the way I see this going. But let's see if the boys are up for it. All right, moving on to Palace Brighton. Palace, we've seen what Palace is about this season. Brighton, of course, they are up there. They are battling for the European places. What do you guys see? Zaha is still not available.
Zaha is out, so that's a big problem for them. They seem not to be playing well without him. So I don't know. Except they pull up something special. I don't know. I see Brighton winning that match.
Beardo, you anticipate any differently, given how
I
well
no,
Brighton are
I
doing?
agree. I mean, Brighton is in a form of their lifetime right now. That's a team that I think they're very confident. Crystal Palace, without Zaha, like Akitaro said, it's pretty much not a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised because they have, all these big forwards, Mateta, Eduardo, but maybe they are not just there yet, right? And it will be an interesting game, but Brighton can kick the ball, they can play the ball, and I think they can stretch this Crystal Palace easily.
The good thing now is that this guy, what's the name of this guy? The Argentine guy is back in the midfield.
Alexis McAllister.
Yeah, so he's going to play with Caicedo. So they're good. So
I expect a win in that game as well. Did you guys know Brighton apparently score at least 2 goals since the Zerbi has come in? Every game they have a minimum of 2 goals. I thought that was interesting.
Except the last game, that is called just.
Except the last game against Bournemouth, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you call that out, right? If I'm correct, his first game was in October. Zerbi.
Yep.
His first game was in October because I remember very well. I was on a flight that very day, on Saturday, and it was against Man City. That was his first game. It was a bad result. They actually suffered, right? The point I'm trying to make is, team need time to gel, but this is one of the quickest. Team that a manager will come in and kind of just turn it around easily.
He didn't turn it. Point of correction, he didn't turn anything around.
I think Brighton has been playing better. I think Brighton has been playing better.
I don't want to totally agree. I don't want to totally agree with you that they are playing better.
I think they were more conservative under Potter. I think you should compare their style with De Zerbi.
I don't think there's really difference in their style. The only difference that I see is that I think they're more attacking now.
Yeah. And that's
but when it comes to it's the same style of game, tic-tac, pass, hold the ball, pass.
Well, no, really. I agree with you on that attacking. During Potter, right? These were games that they played to your style. So if they know that you are on paper maybe a better team, when they play you with some respect. And they try to contain you, and they hold on to you, frustrate you, and they take their chances. This Brighton team, sometimes they try the respect and they attack you. Like they don't care who you are.
Oh yeah.
They will play you. Like they will come out and play you. They don't like, we're going to sit back and let you dominate us. They will play you. If you score them, they will continue to play because they believe they can score. And that's what I see in them. There's this confidence and they play from all sides. I mean, look at those goals. Look at all these, the way they develop boys and coming out with confidence. It's so amazing to watch. That's the point I'm trying to make.
They're a lot more confident, a lot more confident, and they are more attacking under De Zerbi. We've seen Mitoma this season, and they have Solimatch on the other side. The new boy up front, I think his name is Ferguson. He's a striker.
I think from the youth team
as well.
Is he from the youth team or something?
I don't know where he came from, but that boy looks sharp as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go on to Fulham. Nottingham Forest are struggling a lot with injuries at the moment. They have so many players out there. Bought a lot, but as equally as they've bought, kind of like Chelsea players. Kind of like Chelsea, they've bought a lot, but also suffering a lot with injuries. Awoni was supposed to be the main guy this season, and he's out for a couple of months. What do you guys see? Is this a win for Fulham? Would they continue that push for their top 6, or do you see Nottingham Forest bringing an upset in London?
I think Fulham would win this game. Nottingham Forest, they've had recently good results, right? And I think they're trying to escape that relegation, which surprisingly they might escape relegation.
Yeah, they've moved up the table.
Yeah, I think they might escape that. But I think Fulham need a win to get back into Europe. And this might be the game for them to go all out. I mean, they played well against Chelsea. The way they played, I think that's a good game to beat Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest have, added more players, but I don't see them stopping Fulham in this game. I think Fulham is going to win, and I think it might be 2-0.
Scoreline? 2-0.
I don't want to agree with that. I think I see something different.
Okay.
Nottingham Forest, they made a good when they had the injury to the goalkeeper, they got a very good goalkeeper. He saved them in the last match.
Yes.
He did a
Navas
good
was
job in that.
impressive on his
Navas,
debut.
he saved them. And the thing about them is they don't play anything fantastic, but they know how to drive in those long balls and try to just score goals. So I think they're going to give Fulham a lot of problem because Fulham is more of they try to play entertaining football right now. But these people will not play entertaining football. They won't play entertaining football with you. Theirs is to kick and follow. They just kick and follow and they run after the ball, So they might give Fulham problem. The problem Chelsea had with Fulham was they were trying to play, the two of them were trying to outplay themselves. But these people won't outplay you. They will just be compact in their defense and midfield and just look for one goal and they ended up. So it might be a tricky game. They might end up being a draw.
Scoreline? A draw.
A draw. 1-1.
1-1.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see how that plays out. Let's look at the next one. Leicester Tottenham. I think this one is interesting because Maddison is back for Leicester now, and Leicester with Maddison are a top 4 side,
like
and Leicester without Maddison are a relegation contender. So we saw in the last game, right? We saw the difference he makes when he's back in the side. Tottenham are missing Lloris, and they're trying to get into Champions League, but at the moment they're not quite there, right? They had a big result against City on Sunday. Harry Kane finally beating, I believe, Jimmy Green's record. Do you guys see another win? Do you see Kane continuing his form this weekend and Maddison not being irrelevant despite it? Akitayo, what do you think?
I see Leicester winning that match.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm serious. I see them winning that match. Majorly because of 2 things. Number one, Ego is gone. And also the Romero guy in the central defense for whatever. The 2 of them are gone. And those are 2 key players in Tottenham Hotspur. And Buzuma too is gone. So they have key players that are gone in that team. And it's going to go a long way for them. Leicester they still have guys. That Maddison is key. He's in the game now, and the game has changed. He controls the ball from the midfield and spreads the pass. He's everywhere. So I think they're going to nick it. It's going to be a 2-1.
Interesting. Beru, who do you see coming in for Christian Romero? How is that likely to affect how Tottenham approach this game?
Yeah, great point. During that game, Sanchez came in, right? He got a red card. Sanchez came in. I think somebody went out. It was Kuliveski, I think, left so that Sanchez could come in.
Yep.
If he's still going to play back 3, this is a perfect game for Sanchez, Dyer, and Davis, right? To play. That's the typical setup, right? So that's what's going to happen. I'm just looking at it. Longley, he could just be on the bench just in case for any sub. But I think the perfect back three is going to be Sanchez, Dyer, and Davis. And I don't see a gap. Now,
is that enough?
For Leicester.
Against Leicester. I said, is that enough?
I think it's enough because Akitayo mentioned Bizuma. So let's just say this. Since Bizuma made that switch to Spurs, I don't count Bizuma as a starting 11. And that's the truth.
Right.
And I think they covered in that role. So I don't think it would be missed. He's injured. Even when he wasn't injured, he couldn't bench Bentancur and Højbjerg. Højbjerg is the power engine of Tottenham. That's the guy.
Agreed.
You saw the press against City. And I think Arsenal should watch that game and learn from that. We need to press Rodri when we play this guy. And we need somebody to press. Xhaka needs to go out and press Rodri and win that ball. Højbjerg is fit. Is going to be in that game. Bentancur is just coming back. I expect the Son that we saw on Sunday. What's it called? You mean Son that we saw on Sunday again tomorrow against Leicester. If we could get that kind of Son that we watch against City, I think it might be a tough game for Leicester to handle. However, Lloris is missing, which is like a leader, right? He's on a decline, to be honest, but it's still better. But I think it's also an opportunity for Foster to come in and prove something because it's going to be out for like 6 weeks. The point is, it depends on how Maddison could push the team, What's his name? Vardy is not the Vardy that we used to know. Maybe Daka will start this time, or maybe Kelechi will come in and make the starting 11. That might put Foster to work. But without that, I think Sanchez, Dyer, Davis, the back three, and it's going to be 4 or 5 in the middle. I think you have good hands to deal with Leicester. Bentancur is a good player. Højbjerg is going to do the job. You have him supported by Emerson or Perisic. If he's going to start Perisic, I don't know. He's going to start Session. So there are options. Kane and Son will still be the main guy, and you have Richarlison still on the bench, and I think they are covered. Lucas Moura is coming back from injury, so I think it's a good thing, except for Lloris. Romero would not be missed because this is not a great game, so that's fine. And I blame the coach. Now, one last thing I will say: maybe Conte should still sit on the sideline. I'm not sure. Maybe that will help because the assistant coach.
Yeah,
it might just be one of you.
I see a high scoring game, and I don't know who is going to end up taking it. Tottenham up front seem to, if Son is coming back to form, as we saw him against City, and they finally have Kulusevski back, I think we're going to see goals from Spurs. But at the same time, Leicester scored 4 in their last game.
Yeah,
against the Villa side that have been impressive so far.
The Villa side that you were praising the coach.
Yeah, I think we expected Villa to even maybe win that game against Leicester when we talked about it last week.
But Leicester has been like Liverpool though. Except for Liverpool has more quality players.
And that's what we're calling out. Oh, there was this guy as well, Tete. So they just signed Tete in the January transfer window.
Yeah.
And that was impressive. That was an impressive.
The guy he's got pace. He can dribble well. I think he has from Brazil.
He's Brazilian. Yeah, he's Brazilian, left-footed, playing on the right wing. So it's going to be some interesting matchups.
Yep.
I'm seeing a high-scoring game, and somebody's going to take it 3-2 is my call. I don't know who, but it's going to be a 3-2 scoreline.
I think this is one of the away games that Tottenham will snatch.
Yeah. They've had a habit of
I don't see them winning this one.
I see a 4-2
in the season
scoreline.
I don't see them winning this one.
Let's look at Southampton and Wolves. Southampton are struggling. I personally have them as a confirmed relegation candidate, personally, from what I've seen from them, which is sad considering how well James Ward-Prowse seems to play and how he carries himself and carries that team. But I think this season the luck is finally going to run out for them. I mean, they still have, no disrespect, he was my boy at Arsenal, but Theo Walcott I think should no longer be playing at the high level.
Is he still there?
In fact, oh yes, he's just back from injury. I think he played in the last game. Wow. And the fact that they're still relying on, they still need players like Theo Walcott to be helping. Yeah, I have Southampton for relegation. I think Wolves is going to win this game. They're finally finding some form under Lopetegui as well. I'm looking at a 3-1 win for Wolves. Bjorn, what's your take?
I think Wolves would go with that result and beat Southampton. But I can be surprised. Southampton, I agree with you. I'm not sure. I don't see a way out of relegation for them. I'm just focused on the good players that we can get out of Southampton, if there are any good players that we can buy. But I see Wolves winning this game. Maybe a margin of 1. Might be a 2-1 or 1-0. But I don't see Southampton turning things around.
I like Romeo Lavia. He's young. I think he's 18 or 19. But I like Romeo Lavia at Southampton. Yeah. Who is Chelsea not looking into his question?
I remember we shouldn't be calling out names.
The funniest thing, they had a conversation with him. They were supposed to sign him. They had a conversation with him. So
I'm sure if I check my text messages, they've probably gotten a call from Chelsea itself at this point. They're talking to everyone.
Yep.
Do you see Wolves taking this one as well then? Is this a clear
3-0?
3-0. All right. Yep. I think it's unanimous then. Wolves takes this. All right. On to the last game we'll be talking about today. Bournemouth Newcastle. Bournemouth as well, they're struggling with relegation. We saw Newcastle, who have been on form. They've dipped slightly. They're struggling with goals at the moment. I think they've scored only 3 in their last 4. Still the best defense in the league, but they are struggling to find that spark. And to make matters a bit worse for them, Guimaraes is out, suspended. Is this a game where Bournemouth has a chance? I can tell you. What do you think?
Bournemouth win Newcastle.
A win. Okay.
How?
Yeah.
Scoreline. Tell us how you see that unfolding.
It's going to be like 2-1. The match is going to be
Okay.
like 2-1. Yeah. Bournemouth, one thing about Bournemouth, Newcastle, yes, let's give it to Newcastle that they've been fantastic this season, but they're about on the same level with Bournemouth. All these teams that come from championship and come and start establishing themselves, they always know how to play themselves. They know how to play themselves. So Bournemouth might not be spectacular, but whenever they're playing teams that are like similar to them, they know how to handle them. So I feel they're going to win that match.
Okay. Well,
is Guimaraes still out on the red card suspension?
He is still suspended.
Did he get a straight red card?
Yeah,
he got a straight red. So I think he's serving the second of his suspension.
So he's still out, right? Okay.
Yes.
So I'll be shocked if Newcastle lost. I'll be shocked. And I say that because we know that they have a scoring problem. And they also sold striker, which was surprising to people. But again, the strikers they sold, I think they should have been sold because Chris Wood is not really delivering. Just Shelby has been sitting on the bench for a long time. And they already bought Isak. And Isak is out of injury and is coming back.
He's injured. Mm-hmm.
He's coming back in this.
He's back.
Yeah.
So
he's back in the squad, according to
the way Eddie Howe's team play. It's not a name tag, to be honest. Like, these guys are not like world-class players. They just play like Arteta's team. They fit into a system. Mm-hmm. So anybody can step in. I mean, look at Joe Willock, the Arsenal sent, and going to Newcastle and playing at that level, right? Look at Almiron that resurrected himself. The scoring is the problem.
Longstaff.
Yeah, and that's the challenge that they need to fix. If Callum Wilson gets back his confidence, that's an opportunity. I think he had tried a formation whereby he's like, should I play one at a time? I think that's the problem. If he can sort that out technically to know whether he should be playing one at a time or playing both at a time, because he has to deal with, am I going to bet Almiron on the side and bet Joe Willock on the other side so that I can play Isak and Wilson? It's something that he's struggling with. So if he can figure that attack line, I think their back line and goalkeeper, they are still solid to hold down anybody and frustrate anybody. I don't see Bournemouth giving Newcastle any troubles in this game. Unless Newcastle refuses to take their chances, which I think they will create chances. They will create chances, they just need to convert. I agree with you, they're on the same level, but I think the level has changed. And I think that's what you are forgetting, right? The investment is different. So they might be the same level of looking at it as a championship side, but I think investment has changed. And I think they have a coach that is more tactical and knows to, he can read the game better, and he has a system already that is working for them. I would say Newcastle will win this game 2-1. Even 2-0.
I actually think it's I was going to say I think a 2-0 win is in order for Newcastle. I don't see Bournemouth posing a threat in this game. I watched the press conference for the Bournemouth manager Gary O'Neill, and he looked like he wasn't confident himself going into this game, and I think that says a lot. So let's see how that plays out.
But all right. Remember they have some new players. There's this Hamad Traore that's there. Very good player. He used to play in the Serie A. He's a very good player. They have good players. They have one Quataro or something. I think the guy is from Burkina Faso or something. They have good players. They have Anthony. So they have good players that can get things done. So, but let's see how it goes.
Let's see. I think the reason why this might be a difficult game for Bournemouth is the way Newcastle set up defensively. It's a defense-first mindset, and I think that's what maybe Eddie Howe is struggling with at the moment in terms of unlocking, that compactness and that work rate of defense first to make sure they can also get goals up front. And Guimaraes does a lot in terms of transition. Joelinton does a lot for them as well, but without Guimaraes, I think there's a lot that's missing for them.
True.
We know ASN doesn't play or isn't a starter for them because of his ability in possession. He makes a lot happen, right? If he starts, he creates a lot. But Newcastle's game is based on safety, and it's part of the reason that a lot of players don't fit into Arteta's style as well. There's a lot of emphasis on being secure in possession in certain areas of the pitch that I think ASM struggles with.
Yeah.
But Bournemouth, I don't think should pose much of a threat, regardless.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree with you. When your team is built around defense, you always. I mean, look at the way Newcastle players run back to defend the ball. Maybe that's why they're not even scoring.
All right, so that's it for today. I think we'll be back on Sunday looking at the games in midweek.
Yep.
Subscribe, like, follow us, leave comments. Let's hear your thoughts on what you agree or disagree with and what you would like to see. Until Sunday, have a good weekend and enjoy Saturday's games.
Have a good weekend,
everyone.
Bye. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah.